Okay, I think I'm gonna do a garden tour finally, since people seem to maybe want to see what's going on in this garden. So I will start in this corner. Let me turn this camera around. Okay, this is kind of the succulent corner. We've got cactus that's getting ready to bloom, and some hens and chicks that are getting ready to bloom, our crazy catnip patch. This area has our self-watering tomato containers. There's YouTube videos on how to make this, but it's got a false bottom and a watering tube and a wicking system so that water comes from the bottom reservoir. The roots can reach down towards the water. And so far, I have to say, it has been keeping my tomatoes consistently watered. Here's our strawberry plant that has done exceedingly well. I have some spillover tomatoes that I didn't have the heart to throw away. Yeah, it's getting a little wild in here. In the back row, we've got it's a sweet potato, Yukon Gold, purple potato, some wild carrots, and I made these hanging baskets out of these little wire baskets from the Dollar Tree, and I had some pine needle straw. My thyme is looking a little dry, but yeah, those turned out really cute. I've got some bok choy seeds drying. Go around this way. There's our lemon tree and a palm. I saw these bags at Frank's Nursery with flowers in them, and I liked them so well, I ordered some on Amazon so that I could make use of vertical gardening space along the fence, and that's worked out really well. That's my wild milkweed and some more thyme. In this bed, this is greens. I've got cilantro and Mizuna greens. The cilantro's bolting. This is a wavy Mizuna, wavy purple Mizuna. It's really cool. This is, it's either Butter Crunch or Boston Bib. I always forget. And there's a bean in there, and some Swiss chard that's been going strong. I keep cutting it, and it keeps coming back. Some broccoli that got moved from another bed. Some tomatoes that I haven't had the heart to throw away. Some flowers. These are my nasturtiums, which are supposed to attract the pollinators and be a source of, you let the bad bugs kind of munch on them instead of your plants. And also, nasturtiums are edible, and they're kind of peppery. We've put the leaves in some salads. We haven't eaten any flowers yet because these just started to flower. There's my portulaca, which I love. It does really well in the heat. I have this bed. This is a brassica bed that's covered to keep the cabbage moths from chewing up my broccoli. There's a combination of regular broccoli. The heads are still small, but they're getting there. This bed's really pretty cramped. I need to do some trimming. This is a Chinese broccoli. I see one of them is flowering already. And then there's some radishes in here. I got some dill in here and some chard in here. I'm gonna have to pull the cover off this, I think. It's getting pretty tall. This bed has some beets. Beets the leaves are looking good. I'm determined to get my beets to mound up better than they did last time around. I think before we were over fertilizing with nitrogen and we got too much greens, not enough root. So I'm trying to balance the nutrients that I feed it a little bit better. I think this is a zucchini. Then these are some radishes that went to flower, and the flowers are so pretty, I just decided to keep them. We've got some cucumbers, and this is a Cucuzi melon. There's some more self-watering buckets with this Cucuzi melon. Just these flowers just opened today. A lot of male flowers. We'll see if I get any female flowers. And I'm doing a lot of companion planting in these buckets with living mulch, in addition to straw mulch, just to attract pollinators. I've got a marigold in here, and just trying to maximize the use of the space. So these things will all grow up this trellis. This is our cattle panel trellis, and I'm really glad that we got our cattle panel early in the season, because now I've seen people have trouble finding it at Tractor Supply because everyone is on to the cattle panel game. So we're going to have stuff growing up both sides of this trellis. It's pretty cool. See how that works out, making use of vertical gardening space. So in this bed we've got a tomato in here. Got more beets in here, got some carrots in here. There are a few onions left, and I got these are straw flowers, and a borage, which is another kind of trap crop plant. You can see it's getting nibbled, but it's good if the bugs nibble the borage instead of nibbling the things you want to eat. So that's kind of the idea behind that. I've got gates up to try to keep my little kitties from pooping in my beds. This is a turmeric that I planted that came from a grocery store turmeric. I rooted it, and it's growing very slowly. I probably need to get it in the ground. I think it's not happy in the pot. This is my pepper bed, which is getting full. It also has some borage, and borage flowers are supposedly also edible, so we might take advantage of that. I've got a few different kinds of peppers in here. Some of them are still pretty tiny, and I just put that milkweed over there in the back. So we'll see how these all work out. This is a ground cherry, and this is a tomatillo, and then I've got some rosemary in the pot there. I'll probably end up moving that as things get bigger. Yeah, and then we've got our strawberries up in the hanging basket. They're doing okay. And then I covered this to keep the cabbage moths out, just kind of half-heartedly. These overwintered cabbage, we planted them last fall, and we had like 5, and a couple of them bolted in the spring when we had all that weird weather that went from warm to cold and warm to cold. So a couple of them bolted, but I left these 2, and they are getting heads. So that's pretty awesome. And then also in here I have my garlic, which I keep trimming the lower leaves off the cabbage so that the garlic can still get some sun. As well as this, oh no, my dinosaur kale is getting eaten by cabbage moths, probably. I guess that means I should cover this a little more effectively like I have my other bed, but it is what it is for now. I've got some beans in here too, which I figured once I pull the cabbage out, then the beans will have more space. These are our peas. Sugar snap peas, which are rapidly growing, and hopefully we'll get some flowers soon. And then Adam built me these nice shelves on the fence for me to put some of my pots. So we've got some flowers there. This is our second compost bin. It's one of those geo bins. Pretty inexpensive way to make a compost bin because it's adjustable in size, and we've got it zip tied to the fence. So this is our second compost bin. I'll show you the other compost bin out here. Here's our main compost bin we've been adding to since last fall. And we put a lot of brown stuff in here. You need a balance of what they call greens and browns. So I think we added too many. We were putting all of our kitchen scraps and stuff in here and garden scraps. And then we added a whole bunch of leaves. And I think we added too much leaves and it got too dry. Because really you want got this compost thermometer. You want the temperature on your compost to be in the green zone. And I think we let it get too dry. So it has dropped a lot, and we mix it every couple days. And it is breaking down. You can see the dark black areas are like where it's really, really breaking down. So we're trying to get it to be cooking a little bit hotter. Get some microbes going in there. This is one of our outside beds that I put here just mostly because of the sun, the way the sun moves across the yard. This corner gets pretty good sun for a long period of time, so it seemed like a good use of a space. So we have another half cattle panel trellis for the peas to grow up. We have snow peas and sugar snap peas, and there's some beans in here. There's a handful of beets that I stuck in here, and a squash, and a Brussels sprout. It's either a Brussels sprout or broccoli. Until they get bigger, I always have a hard time telling. These two Savoy cabbages we also overwintered, and I had some that bolted from that too, but these look like they're going to get heads, so I'll just keep feeding them and trimming the lower leaves, and hopefully they'll get bigger and bigger and we'll be able to eat. Go back in here. Hello, Kitty. Come on, Kitty. It's my garden helper. Okay, over in this area, got a self-watering. It's a little bit chaos in here right now with bike parts. Got a self-watering bucket with some peppers and ground cherries, which are also called husk cherries. This is my first time growing them, so I can't wait to see what they turn out to be like. It's supposed to be sweeter than tomatoes. This is our sage, which has been in this bed, which used to be a flower bed. It's been in this bed for a long time, so it's very mature. And more borage, just getting tall and getting ready to flower. It's our chamomile, which is very slow to flower. I think we crowded the pot. This is our eucalyptus, which is a tree. It's now a tree. Kind of not the greatest place for it, but I bought it when it was a little teeny tiny plant from Banky Nursery, and I had no idea that it was going to become a tree. Here's another one of our grow bags with some lettuce in it. It's doing pretty well. More nasturtiums. This bed is also covered. I had to cut some lettuce. Yeah, we've got some heads of lettuce in here. This is Paris Island, I think. A head lettuce. And we've got more mabuna and kale and some broccoli, I think. And these are purple kohlrabi, except there was one in there that was not purple. So let's see how they're doing. You're getting there. You're getting there. You take a long time. And what else we got in here? I got some radishes. My second round of French breakfast and icicle radishes, which I love. They're my new favorite radish. And we got some red cabbage that was winter sown. And we'll see what happens with them if they head up. I'm not sure how that's going to go. They might just keep going. In this pot, we got more, let's see, we got Mary's Niagara ground cherry, which was kind of a rare seed that I managed to get a hold of. So we'll see how that goes. And some more lettuce with some flowers. This is our asparagus bed, which is on year 2. Probably, hopefully next year, we will be able to harvest thick enough asparagus. It's still too skinny to eat. So it's an investment to get asparagus to grow. These are our Dollar Tree garden towers, which was a really good find. It's pretty hard to find them in stores now. I think Savvy Gardeners bought them all up, and you can't really find them in stores right now. But we drilled extra holes. Rosemary, the chard is in need of trimming. Lettuce. Let's see, this is another relatively rare Tomatillo Dr. Weish that I got from the Experimental Farm Network. And this is mouse melon, also called cucamelon. And we got some squash. And these are all my tomato plants that are in ground. And I'm starting to trellis them. We've got this huge trellis apparatus that Adam built for me. And I'm just going to string back and forth to kind of and trim. I'm going to be pruning these so that they don't get too wild, horizontally at least. And then in the back here, next to the trellis, we've got more Yamato XL cucumbers, lemon cucumbers, pickling cucumbers. My loofah is slow to take off. And then I got another bitter melon here. We got some zinnias in there. These are some flowers. I don't think this is Cosmos, maybe. I can't remember. And this is, these are California poppy. And then I put in another sowing of radishes in here. Just kind of tucking the radishes in wherever I can fit them. I got several different kinds of tomatoes. Let's see if I can remember what I've got here. This is Brandywine and Amish paste, black creme, and I always forget what I planted here. I can't remember. That's why I do keep records of what I planted where, otherwise I wouldn't know. I try to be good about labeling, but sometimes that gets away from me. And my cucumbers are starting to get tall enough to tie up, so we'll be training them up the trellis. All this stuff is doing good. This is our avocado that I rescued from the side of the road. It was in a pot out at the curb, so I rescued it. It's hanging in there. This is purple bok choy. I love this. It's so pretty. The back of the leaves is just like gorgeous. Really, really nice. And some random flowers. marigold, and bok choy. Gorgeous, gorgeous. More strawberry. Good strawberry with purple or pinkish flowers, which is interesting. Yeah, so that's more or less what we have going on here. We've kind of made use of every vertical gardening strategy we can think of, and ones we didn't think of that other people thought of. So that is pretty much the garden tour. So if anybody has questions about what we did, give me a shout. Thanks for watching.